All right. I have a result on screen, and ugh, don't like this camera angle, but you can see the rig at least. Um, it's been a bit of a struggle. It's now 10:30 at night. I've spent the last 4.5 hours trying to get Threadripper up and running. I was originally planning to run 3 Mark 06 on Threadripper, but I don't know what's wrong with my chips and boards. Um, it just seems like it's cursed. So I've decided to switch it up and go with Plan B, which is the 2400G on a new board. And which new board is it? Well, it's an ASRock, and um, Billzoid did a PCB breakdown. So I'm gonna chuck that into chat in case anybody's interested. Obviously, the board is in my rig at the moment, but um, it's basically another ITX board. I broke Threadripper, yeah, I did. Um, what are the differences? So this is my gigabyte, which I showed on the last stream. Um, um, it's basically the same as this, except it doesn't have 4+2 VRM, but it has a 3+2 VRM. It's got slightly different layout, so kind of basically the memory slots are slightly further in towards the socket, and so you can fit the 24 pin and the SATA and the power and reset buttons and all that in the conventional sort of location on the right hand side of the board, rather than at the top here, which is obviously sort of a compromise that they make on this gigabyte ITX board. The 8-pin location is kind of similar. And a thing that I thought was like, it doesn't really matter for overclocking, but something that I thought was a little bit weird is the fact that it has 2 HDMI ports, which kind of is a concession to the fact that DisplayPort is going out of fashion, because this board has DisplayPort and HDMI. That board over there has 2 side-by-side HDMI ports, which not only takes up a lot of the I/O space, but it's just sort of weird to look at. Um, Otherwise, it has PS2 as well. It has USB-C, which is actually surprisingly relevant to overclocking, because if you can see, first of all, Bill Zoid sort of points out in his video that he's not sure of the thermals, because all he has is just pictures of the naked PCB. Well, I have obviously not taken off the VRM cooling here, but earlier on I was just sitting in BIOS and the thing was so hot to the touch that it was uncomfortable to leave my finger there for any amount of time. So I have a Delta fan blowing at it. I have to. I don't know what I'm going to do on LN2. I might have to run without a socket heater. I'll have to monitor it closely. I mean, my first impressions would be that this board may potentially be better than the Gigabyte board, but the VRM situation is a bit of a concern. Now, just because of the arrangement of the socket and everything, and the fact that I have to have a Delta fan right there, I've actually just put a USB-C dongle attached it there, because I don't think I can safely put my hand next to the USB ports on the actual I/O area of the board, because there's a fan right there. So yeah, that's that. Um, that's that board. I'm not done with talking about boards though, because something that came in recently and I tested it and it's all working and everything, was the Rampage Extreme from Splave. It's missing the Ground has already pointed that out on the sale thread on HardwareBot. It's missing this little sort of attachment here to be able to water cool the North Bridge or chipset, whatever it is in this case. Not a big deal. I should be able to get just a generic sort of chipset heater. I want to chill the Northbridge anytime I use this board anyway, because from the people I've been talking to, this board tends to die a lot, and most of the time it will take the chip with it, or it will kill the chip only, or whatever. But basically, my point being, I want to minimize the chances of it randomly dying. It will, I mean, you can't eliminate it. I think this is just a board that's known for that, but that's why I'm going to be chilling the main chipset. Okay, so my chiller is set just to some sort of slightly sub-ambient temperature. That's your story and you're sticking to it. Okay, fair enough. My chat box is okay. Oh, I've switched to 1080p. Zero drop frames is incredible. I'm streaming at the highest frame rate I've ever streamed at, basically. The only issue is that my view here is a little bit screwed up. Well, that didn't help. Anyway, I've got a few black borders around my stream. I think that's acceptable. I'm not gonna try and fit. Well, hold on. I can potentially. It's kind of weird. My OBS just refuses to show the entire screen, which is weird dedication to showing all the pixels one is to one. But anyway, I think we're all right with that. That's usable. Let me know how it looks. I think. Oh yay, a host from Bill's out. Nice. Because we're in the same team in Twitch, I think we sort of all auto-host each other by default anyway, unless we turn it off. But it's always nice to get viewers, so thanks for that. I ran through so many cards. So my idea for the stream tonight was I was going to get a card that's slow enough that Threadripper wouldn't hold it back in graphics tests in 3D Mark 2006. None of my cards would work on Threadripper. I don't know what the problem is. The newest card, or the oldest card I could actually post with even, was the HT 5870, which isn't very old. I was hoping to run something like a 7000 series NVIDIA or an X series AMD, but anyway, that just didn't work out. I spent about 3 hours trying to debug that. Let's just go into BIOS, and even when I was trying to set up this system, I was having weird issues because I only picked this up today. Kind of funny. Well, is it a funny story? I don't know. I'm going to try and tell this story, but it's not really as funny as it is in my head, probably. So this dude I bought a Ryzen 5 1600 from, and this board for a really good price on eBay. It said item location was, really close to my work, and I was like, oh, I'll just pick it up. I don't want to spend money on postage. But this guy was working in this co-working place, and that's when I realized that I'm older than I think, because it was all a little bit too hip for me. There was just all these little lounge chairs, and I don't know. It was a little bit odd. Like, you could go to a reception and ask for somebody, but then they would just tell you just to input all your details into an iPad anyway, and it would take your picture, and then you could have a lollipop while you're waiting. I don't know. I'd never been to a co-working space before, but that was a bit. I don't know if I'd like to work there day in, day out. A little bit too cool for me. Anyway, okay. This is an ASRock BIOS. It's red for some reason. That must be the fatality thing. Let's see. Everything's a little bit screwed up. I keep messing with my stream, but I think I will eventually end up somewhere that I really like. Sounds like a gay place. Yes. No, we're not homophobes here. No, I don't. Please don't take that seriously. Gay as in just happy. So let's see what we can do in terms of RAM. Let's load the XMP. That's a start, isn't it? Oh, one more thing I tried to make running on a board without post display a little bit more bearable was, what if when I'm running an APU, I can throw my PCI diagnostic card into the open PCI Express slot? Well, it powers, but it just shows a 00 boot code. But what I haven't tried is to run it in Asus board, because I have had issues before where the diagnostic card didn't work, but it's pretty rare. Gay happy. Yeah, exactly. Gay happy. Oh. Is that a post? Please tell me that's a post. Yeah, oh, there we go. What's everyone else overclocking? Bilko, I know you're happily SuperPi 32Ming. Well, it's a post, but on the old frequency, so that's... And I hate, this is something that doesn't really happen with Asus, correct me if I'm wrong, but on other vendors, for some reason, randomly the keyboard will just drop out, which is, again, a little bit of, like, I don't know, like, what's the point in that? Okay, so happily C2X core to extreme, you mean? What's a C2X? I have literally no idea what you're talking about there. Oh god. Okay, now it's hung up. This seems like happy. Like this seems like an ASRock board. I don't even know what to show here. X680. Breaking all the things. Look, I don't know. Can you call it a controversy? I don't know. I mean, in a very idealistic sense, I would say there are more important things to be moderating, and more blatantly, I don't know what, like, tweaked, cheated, I don't know what to say, things on HardwareBot to be moderating. But at the same time, I also understand that it looks really fishy to have a sub that's 30 or 40% faster than everyone else. No, not really. There's some subs that are 1 minute 20 seconds. But anyway, okay, let's actually just, I mean, quickly have a look here. Clock for clock. Yeah, but I don't think this platform scales very well. I didn't see very much scaling. I am a bit annoyed by this black bar though. Okay. So it's stage 4. Stage 4 of DDR3. That's a slow sub. I'm not really, see, like, this guy is like 300 or 400 megahertz slower than I am. And the whole point is, okay, so let's take semi-series subs, so anything above 3.5 gigahertz. That's just the same guy again. That doesn't count. Snegovich. No, like there's only 3 subs here that are in any way decent, and I'll tell you exactly why they're slow. This is using the legacy version. Legacy version is slower. There's no factor you can apply to a legacy version and say, well, it should still be faster than this. No, legacy version is extremely slow on this platform, right? So this sub, like, you can't use this as a means of comparison. Okay, so let's look at this one. On air, legacy again, way slower. Let's look at this one. Local Aussie guy, legacy version again, way slower. Can someone point me to a sub that leads to the comparison that I'm sort of applying like some sort of a weird tweak? I don't think there's a single sub in this competition yet that actually like is comparable in any way. I'm sorry. I mean, I've looked at all of these three, so that's all of Warp 9. I don't think the Ukrainians have done anything to worthy of note. Okay, here we go. So this is the same chip as well. Legacy version and Windows 10 and HPET timer on. If you were trying to be slow, you couldn't make this any slower at that clock. So, okay, I mean, hi Rave. Oh, Twitch is refusing to send emails. Can you overclock a Pentium 133? More than likely, but you'd have to do like a hard mod, like a pencil mod, or change jumpers or anything like something like that. More than likely, you won't have FSB or BCLK control. So, as it stands right now, there are so few submitted 100M results on this platform that there isn't a single one I could point to and say this is actually on the non-legacy version and on version 3 or higher. Now, I've been PM'd by people who say they have gotten the non-legacy version working and are slower than me, but okay, there's like the screenshot from Leghoft in the thread. Let's look at that actually, just for shits and giggles. So DDR3. Wasn't this, it was this. So, anyone notice something? Like, okay, so he's on real-time timer, so there's no HPET. He's on the same batch and reduction. He has 2 legacy runs there. I don't know what the difference is supposed to be between the 2 legacy runs, to be honest. But he's covering his frequency. I mean, it's probably a complete accident. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I can't draw any conclusions from this. Yes, he apparently got 1 run of the non-legacy version in. What frequency? How many cores are enabled? What memory setting? Those things could all be really relevant on an old platform like this. I have a funny accent. I'll take that as a compliment. Okay. Anyway, if somebody has some sort of like massive insight into what they think is going on, feel free to tell me. Like, all the theories out there are a bit ridiculous because, oh, your run actually, like the timer is being influenced. There, I have a video of it. It took 53 damn seconds in the video. It's pretty hard to, I'm sure there's a way to do it, but it's pretty hard to live stream something like slow down. You'd have to talk really fast to compensate or something. That's next level. If somebody does that for Team Cup, which is a competition which doesn't even have prizes, maybe they should win. That's so much effort. Okay, what do we have in terms of settings in this thing? Okay, my sticks are kind of, you know, they like a lot of, oh, It's not going to get us very far, is it? 1.5. Huh. I'm going to have to use Ryzen Master for that, for memory voltage. That goes up to 1.8. That's decent. Okay, so I'm going to load defaults again. Disable all the crap. Bluetooth. As I would love to put just weird shit into their biases. Oh, that's nice. They actually give you a little menu to look at the GISA. Okay, so that might help put up the speed up the boot process. So the funny thing is, where is it? Maybe it's not in this BIOS actually. Some of the Ryzen BIOSes have the core versus die interleaving option, which I wonder what that would do on Ryzen versus, I mean, I know what it does on Threadripper, but okay, what else do we need to set in here that we can't set in? Oh, we can't really set time. Well, we can try and set timings in Ryzen Master. It doesn't seem to halt on fan speed error, which is interesting. Let's go, well, what is it, chassis 1, I think. Okay. That's all we can set here, really. Isn't it under OC Tweaker, the profiles? Yeah. I do like ASRock BIOS. We'll check again in 20 minutes. Nice. So the chip isn't deleted. I may just wait until Bilko lends me his deleting tool. I think that's for $175. Oh, change mem timings in OS. Is that what you're able to do on socket 939? That's kind of cool. Oh, you see now stuff is slightly off screen. Anyway, that's fine. So, time for Ryzen Master. So the interesting thing with Ryzen Master is when you change motherboards or change CPU, you have to reinstall it. It just tells you that the CPU is not recognized, which is BS, of course, but I think I have it on this USB. Yeah, there it is. No dropped frames. Loving it. 1080p. Is anyone actually watching in 1080p? Doesn't make a difference to 720p. It's kind of good that I can't set DDR voltage over 1.8. I'll do less messing around with the RAM potentially, and try and clock the iGPU. Is that it? We'll just run now. Nobody really knows what they're doing, Vilko. We're all just faking it. That's my recipe for success in life. I Okay. Fancy shit. Oh. 400 megahertz? That's really weird. On the other board, it defaulted to like 1140 or something. Let's see what GPU Z reports. Is that just the idle? Yeah, 1240. 1240 is the default. How can I even... What the hell? How can I even set that? 1240 and... I'm gonna start pumping volts. Oh, okay. That's really interesting. I thought that every motherboard would just expose memory everything. Failed on loop 4. But it doesn't let you set volts. Maybe a reboot will fix that, but I don't think this board is good enough for LN2. Which is a shame because I don't like the Gigabyte. The Gigabyte is capable, but it's just a pain in the ass. This board is just flat out not doing it. Okay. Applied. Doesn't it want to reboot? This will be interesting to even see what my sticks do on 1.5 volts. So how's your SuperPi 32M failing? Is it a hard lockup, or is it not exact in round, or what's going on? I mean, it kind of makes sense what they're doing. Hard lock, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of ways to get around all. Oh. So, what's CBS versus? I don't get this. Okay, let's see if it'll do 2800 at 1.5. Such a shame. It's a two dimmer, and you can't set more than 1.5 volts. It's okay. I haven't really explored this chip before, so I can just try for core and iGPU. That's all right. Oh man. Okay, just make sure that our memory is where we kind of want it at. Yeah, 2800. I'm gonna get a validation because I love getting those reference frequency records. It's how you get your 350 gold Gold cups. Okay. Okay. Let's push the core first. The core is the easiest to push. I mean, just gonna chill her down a little bit more. I've set 9 degrees. If there's too much condensation, I'll just insulate a little bit more. Okay. Let's try 4.1 and 1.4. And we're gonna go to just physics only. Yeah. This is an enterprise image of Windows 10 actually, which makes the whole idea of Windows 10 a little bit more appealing to me, because the regular Windows 10 images are just horrible. Come on, System Info, you can do it. Ooh, that looked a bit pixelated. Okay. So that's 12K physics. Let me just quickly restart my stream.